that fight scene that you have in the finale. Let's talk about intense. You and Kim versus Dwayne and Vin. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, no, I mean that was quite. It was a hard one to stage because there was 4 of us fighting and the space was very small and the plane was shaking and there was a lot to take in. There's things falling on you and boxes collapsing, and so it was done in such a way that the sequences overlapped each other, but we didn't have to do it at the same time. But they were full on. I mean, really full on. But there's some fantastic moments, and there's some great little flares that Vin has when he catches my leg, and instead of he just spins me around and throws me into this stack of boxes, and those little things, really add a small flair, and it shows the personality of everybody and the way they fight, and we're all very different, and I think that's what was so great about the stunt coordinator. He was out. It wasn't just about creating fights. It was about creating specific fight styles for each character. So Owen Shaw doesn't fight like any of the other characters in the film, and that's a great thing.
And having all those different body types and sizes as well, you couldn't possibly.
No, exactly. And the boys, some of the guys are proper street fighters. Paul's character and Vin's character, they proper street fighters. Whereas Owen was trained in martial arts. Being part of the special ops forces. He'd have been trained in a huge amount of that stuff. So his fight style was very different.
In the entire franchise, there's been a lot of cool cars, but I think Owen might win for coolest car ever.
I think so.
Can you talk about the flip car?
It's just an incredible machine. I mean, the imagination. I mean, Justin's, to think that this came out of his head is quite amazing. To think that car that you see Mead sit in and drive is actually the same car that does the flipping. It wasn't a different car. It was the same car. They actually it was able to do that, which is incredible. You just think, wow, these things were built to work, and that's what Fast and Furious franchise is famed for. Is that if they can make a stunt sequence for real, they will do it for real. And those police cars were flipped in a Glaswegian street very late one night last summer. So it's brilliant.
And just the noise, just the sound.
You've heard it, right? Yeah. The noise is like. It's just thunderous, like a thunderclap going off. It's enough to give anybody a little bit of adrenaline rush, I think.
And I think the cool thing about that is the first time we see it in the team versus team chase, Justin designed that to show who Owen Shaw was.
Yes.
And what he will do to achieve his ends, and it completely works, no?
Completely, yeah. It's a perfect introduction to his character, and you see how ruthless he is, and because people have to understand this guy has no qualms in upsetting anybody or losing anybody. He's out for himself at the end of the day. He has a team, but if they make a mistake and they die, well, that's their fault. They've made a mistake. So that car race at the beginning really does it sets him up perfectly for some people, and the team very quickly realize they have a real threat and a real bad guy now that has the only thing that Dom never thought he would see again, which is Letty, and that makes the whole it ups the ante to another level. It's very, very clever.
You have to have a great bad guy, so you have the opponents be better. Like, he just made them look that much better.
Will you talk a little bit about working with Dwayne and Riley coming in as his second in this one? What was that relationship like?
Dwayne was so great and so beautiful to me, and it was a pleasure working with him and seeing his professional attitude. And the man works hard. He gets up at 3 a.m. and he doesn't stop going. And I just have so much respect for him, and just to be near that energy was just healthy for me. As was it, with Luke. It's great for me to experience these kinds of people. So. I think I grew as a person.
I know it always sounds cliche, but this really is a family, isn't it? Off screen.
Yeah, it's lovely. Well, you've seen, they are on and off the screen. You've seen them grow. They have children on set now. Their kids are on set, and it's quite sweet, isn't it? It's very lovely, and they all like each other, which is says something, doesn't it? After 10 years.
Absolutely.